Wow, it's taking forever here. Hi, I'm Brenda Jean Power. I am a medicine woman. And I feel like I have to have a message in this world to do something, to get out there and a purpose. It's always good to have a purpose. In one way or the other, it's always good to have a purpose. And then purpose is that importance. What's important to me? Well, deep down inside, I just feel like I'm supposed to serve. And to me, there's no higher honor to serve. But it depends on who you serve. And in my heart, it's about that love. It is about that ability to be happy and joyful. And when I started to achieve that happiness and joy for myself, to me, it was very exciting. I wanted to be able to pass it on. And I kept saying, please, Spirit, show me how to do this. Because I wasn't born just to be happy. Well, take that back. Yes, I was. But it didn't happen that way. I had to work for it. I needed to find out what love wasn't. And so I can really appreciate what love is. How do I know the difference? So when usually I help you find the connections of why things are happening, I also help you measure the difference. Measuring the difference of where you were and where you're going. I find it so important because I have people, they'll say, oh yeah, that's my life. And then we go to use the healing tools, the resolving tools. And lo and behold, it's like, yeah, I can feel a difference, but they can't measure it. Now, if I didn't ask them to measure it, then they're like, yeah. And it's like, wait, no. We've got to... We've got to get you to see a difference and get you to become aware of it. You've been so used to life one way. For me, I always felt like I was going insane. It was like, oh my God, monotonous. And I was not very good with monotonous. I let my emotions decide how I feel. Hi, everybody. Now, if you're interested, while Spirit wants to help you move out of your daily life of hells or frustration or depression or anxiety, I want you to know that I also will take your emails and you ask your question. And while I talk, we gather information. If you feel like, you know what, I want more than a reading. I want to, I'd like to do a healing. Well, we can do that as well. And for $11 for 6 minutes, you can come on here, and here's the Zoom number, the Zoom room. And you're more than welcome to, we can participate and do it in that way. So hello, Amy.
Hello, Brenda.
Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Now, Amy is the moderator, and you got questions and things like that, you can ask her. Oh, yes. So we have a lot of people have questions about loved ones, relationships. And what I found out has a lot to do with whether or not you understand how you function as a human. If you have this part of you that feels out of sync with everybody, you're always going to feel out of sync. You're like, oh my gosh, that's BS. Happens to be your story. What I found for me was that I was connecting with people that had different thought systems, different belief systems, different ways of values. Even though they were nice people, great people, family, friends, it wasn't me. I needed to find me. I needed to find where I was going, where I'm at. And it's like, there's a journey here. And every time I would hook up with the people that I loved and they pulled away, I started realizing that it was my reactions that helped them determine how to treat me, how to respond to me. Every time I shrunk my energy in, it felt like they could control me. And I thought, well, how do I change my energy? So I try to be happier, but that doesn't change your physical body. That just changes your attitude temporarily. So when you're out of sync with somebody, you can really have problems with joy, with what did I do wrong? Can't help yourself getting into victim attitude, or you have to be the one that has to always be pushy, and you're like, I don't like that. The man that I'm married to, the best part is that when we're out of sync, we know it. And we have a protocol of when we're out of sync, what we do to come back to each other. It's even written in our vows. So we don't have to be stuck like the rest of the world that thinks a certain way, acts a certain way, and is a certain way. You can actually learn how to become in sync with the people you love. Now, again, we both intentionally wanted the same thing. We wanted happiness. We wanted joy. It wasn't about just being ego. Now, you need ego to be able to create reality. You just don't need to over-identify with matter and place all of these negative emotions and hurt and pain and take it personal, because it cuts us off. It causes us to react. It causes us to see things a certain way. And what I found was that when I took it personal, and when I felt resentment, and when I felt bitterness, and when I felt these emotions, yes, they were legitimate. I could have those feelings. But did I want them, and did I want to live there? Yes, when I was younger and I was molested, I suppressed those emotions. I didn't want to feel that. Didn't want to see the pictures. But that doesn't do anything except for store it in the body's consciousness. And then it pops up later and makes your whole life like hell. So I tried different things. I changed myself to fit the people's temperaments and mood swings. And I was exhausted until Spirit told me how to look at life and see it as a lens, that your inner world creates your outer world. Begin to notice life as a mirror. Yes, love and respect those around you, but understand they are demonstrating something where your energy is off. You are made of energy. And when it's off, you'll know, because you won't be happy. It's anything less than love. Like today, I haven't done this in a long time, but I went out to the kitchen, put my toast in the toaster, and I made my husband a couple pieces of toast. Looked good. Put mine in, come back. I got burnt toast. I heard myself bitch. What the hell? Why does it always happen to me? And Spirit. Now, if you understand how to go into your spirit mind, here you go. That's a clue. Listen to that language. It isn't just to communicate with. It's something is telling me I'm upset by this. Am I really upset? Do I really feel like I get the short end of the stick? What belief system is there? Or do I just enjoy whining and bitching? And I had to step back and think about these emotions. I thought, you know what? There's something here. So I took that and I put that on the shelf, and I thought, okay, so I'm back to my joyful self. And then I dropped the butter. Because it was the last bit. No. Needless to say, I'm not telling you what I did with that butter. I may have used it. I may have thrown it away. I may have decided to chuck the whole thing, depending if I had a temperament tantrum. But I will tell you, I did find more butter. I just had to wait for it to melt a little bit, because real butter is just hard when it comes out of the... Why do I tell you these things? It's not to get sympathy. It's to help you recognize, do you see it in yourself? I thought, wow, I'm creating a pattern. Something that I've always had inside me. And then I remembered my dream. I was like, oh God, yes, it's all related to that. In my dream, I was perpetually gasping for air. I was having an asthma attack, and I kept asking, not this husband, but the last one, I need my inhaler. I need to get into the room where the inhaler is. I need to get into the room. Now, he had given my room to who, I don't know who it was. It was some chick. But she was more important than I was. And it was like, but I need my inhaler. And apparently I passed out. And when I woke up, I realized I was in a bed. I looked around. I thought, well, that was nice of him. Until I heard him in the hallway. Yeah, I'm so glad I moved her. She was just getting in the way. Didn't matter that I passed out from not being able to breathe. Wow. I really thought that was love until you begin to hear. Now, this is where it gets confusing. How many times have you done it? How many times have you heard your friends do it? You call them false. How many times do we call it love? And yet these people are cruel. They'll go and complain to somebody about how nasty you are. This is a consciousness that's ready to move. This is a paradigm that we have to be done with. But you want to know what? It's not going to go if you don't start paying attention to those little thoughts. Like me and the toast in the kitchen going, oh, come on. It was happening to me. That's a victim stance. And then, see, my world, ever since I've been working on this and doing this for such a long time, it's been great. And all of a sudden, I just started hearing these things. I thought, oh my gosh, they're all connected. I mean, that's the gallbladder meridian. It's got to whine. It's got to bitch. It's got to feel resentment, disappointment, anger, frustration, indecisiveness. Your energies have been labeled. Your energies have been labeled by an organ or a system, but it's chock full of negative emotions. I will tell you, that was the kind of thinking that I had. And guess what? I eventually had to get my gallbladder taken out because I was in extreme pain. What happens when you cannot process emotions? You get headaches, you get symptoms, you get sickness. I had this person that, when they were a little girl, had an operation but didn't understand it and carried that abandonment with her. And when you do, that's all you see is through that filter that you think everybody's abandoning you. There is a part of you that you're not even awake enough to yet. But when you begin to awaken to hear that tone, type of language, and you just flipped off and said, I was just commenting, I was just joking, you carry that over in relationships. And what you say to me is what you say behind everybody's back. What you do will say louder than what you say to me. So your actions. I've got a couple of people I just adore and love, but I don't know if I want to. Because I found out what they say and do. For the longest time, I couldn't understand my family. Why do you say you love me and then form a hate group just so you guys can bash me? And you still call that love? I don't get that one. Love to me was always love. I went out of my way. I wanted to make sure you were happy. So if you really want to have good relationships, you need to start checking in here. When you don't start trusting yourself and you don't start seeing your inner child as you, and you don't know how to remother or refather the child that's in you. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about inner child work? Oh, how stupid. No. Have you ever closed your eyes and looked back when you were so scared and see what age you really are? I love doing inner child work. Because when I can get the person to actually see what I see, your energy, I had this one client, she's bawling and everything else. And then all of a sudden she went over and she was helping her inner child. And all of a sudden she got the giggles and she couldn't stop. And it just, I kept saying, what's what? She goes, I'm just so happy. I says, how about if you take some of that and pass it out to some of the kids inside of you? And then she started laughing all over again. She says, I've never felt so free. I have never felt so loved. And she says, and it's funny because when I saw somebody not like me, she saw for herself the age that didn't like to be treated that way. It's so important you begin to understand this. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to check in to see if anybody has seriously wanted it. Because I have people that constantly come on and say they want it. And then I go to say, if you're here, I'm wasting my time. Because there's 30-second delay from the time I say it to the time you hear it. And then you have to respond. It's another 30 seconds. And then by the time when I finally get you to say that you're here, half the time people aren't here. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll just do it regardless. Well, I'm giving and expending all this energy, all this knowledge, all of this, and it's going nowhere. So it's like, okay. Now, Miss Aim, have we started getting emails?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. And?
So far.
All right, so once she tells me who it is, then you get 1 minute free. And if you got a question, you ask too. You only get 1 minute, so it can't be 50,000 things for me to answer. Oh, thank you, Petra. Patty?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She asked me last night before she went to bed if she could email.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's fine.
Because we know she's so.
Yeah, she's one of those fans that learn and love to watch, and she applies the healing. That's good. All right, well, so just anything?
Yep, anything Spirit wants to tell her.
All right. So physically, is she doing better physically? Yeah. Okay, so mental, emotional, spiritual. You do want her to talk about physical. That's funny. I'll tell you in a minute. She goes, yeah, well. So her aura is like going, yes, I know that story. I want to connect. I want to be with people. I want to do that. But oh my God, I just don't want to be around certain people. And so there's this energy field that's like, okay, I need to go talk to people today. So there's this push and pull. And they said that's trusting. That's a difficult part of you, that trust and distrust, because you've had people and that it's like, and you're like, yeah. So you have an experience with that. And then when you do go around people, you're ungrounded. And they say you need to ground yourself a little bit more. One of the tricks you can do is making sure you do the hookup. But also you can take a metal spoon and rub it on the bottom of your feet. There's other different kind of healing tools. You can start imagining that your energy is going to Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is bringing her energy back up so you come into balance. And they said that there's just a part of you that's comfortable to be an introvert. And they said sometimes you have intuitive nudges that says, actually stay away from somebody. And you're like, but I got to. And then another one says, the intuitive nudges is that sometimes you have to get out of your space because you can be too claustrophobic, or what do you call it? Inward. Don't want to connect. Okay, what else?
Madison.
Good night. Go back to sleep, Miss Queen. Thanks for coming in. Madison, you said?
Madison.
Oh. Well, we have a card for Madison already. This card says you need to believe The force that works through your soul, determining what's possible or impossible. So let's find out what more they want you to believe in. And it's about finding your center. They're showing me that you're doing pretty good, knowing how to recenter thyself. But then when it comes to other people's energies, such as romance, or you can feel the different vibes, they are trying to tell me that you have to make sure that you hook up. Okay, you need to keep that energy protected. You need to do a Celtic weave, and you need to do a connecting heaven and earth, because you need to learn how to observe instead of absorb. You get so immersed in all of it that your body starts to mimic who you're with. When that happens, you have a tendency to forget where you end and they begin. And before you know it, you're kind of fulfilling maybe what they want, and you're like, wait a minute. So you have to begin to do this. Amy oftentimes, won't realize it, and then all of a sudden she'll take on somebody that comes in their house. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is.
And how do you know it?
If I take on my husband, I just get sad and feel like crap.
So you kind of, is that how he feels sometimes?
I think that's how he feels 99% of the time. I honestly don't ever remember seeing him happy in the last year or so.
Aw. Well, we need to send out some love to him. But yeah, and so then even though you feel that way, does it affect you physically? Does it make you sick? Just besides being grumpy and bad, what else?
Yeah, I can get sick from it. Feel, just
blah.
Feel off.
Yeah, off, flat, and blah. And so sometimes you need to protect yourself. Now, before I go any further, Thursday show, we're going to talk and do about healing. But here's one thing. Somebody out there, I can feel their fear. Like, for instance, you just kind of on the depths of why, I just don't know. Okay. And sometimes your fear just turns into this crying session, this part of you that makes you feel awful, that makes you feel like, God, nothing I do works. What I want you to do is I want you to breathe in to the count of 5 and breathe out the count of 5. You're going to do that a couple times. When you finish breathing out, just kind of push the rest of the air out. And then you're going to suck in and hold your breath. And you're going to do that 2 or 3 times. And you're like, but I can't stop sobbing. Okay, if you can't get your breathing under control, you will also add this. And that is, you're going to place your hand on your forehead and the other hand on the back here. Okay, this part of your head has to do with the elements of water, head and kidney, has to do with the season of winter. And the element, the emotion that goes with that element is fear. And you are electromagnetic being. And when you're holding this, you have this brainstem that's become so active and stressed. This is a good way to calm your nervous system, to help you go back into parasympathetic, which is rest and digest, get out of stress. And you're going to put it here. You're also going to put this one here. 80% of the blood will leave your forebrain. So you go into fight, flight, freeze. If you place your hand here, your electromagnetic hands, electromagnetic part of your blood, you're doing this. Keep it anywhere from 3 to 20 minutes, because sometimes you need that extra time of holding. Fall asleep like that. It can calm you to fall asleep. And you will get out of that space. You can do it. I just helped somebody else today to do that. I know that you have to get the rhythm, because you are an electromagnetic being. You know how to heal yourself. You really do. Aw, Maria Teria? Aloha! Aw, I've been watching your lives for a while now. Love the words of wisdom. Yes. Do you have any for me on my youngest daughter? She always seems to be angry with me, no matter how hard I try to work. What else? I guess or on our relationship. You know what's interesting? I'm just going to take this one real quick. Hopefully she's still here. Please tell me you're still here. If she responds back, then I will, because I will answer that. All right, Amy, who's next?
TJ, she has a friend named Alonzo, and she's wanting you to scan him.
Okay. What is she looking for?
She didn't really say.
All right. If CJ is here, then please kind of give me a little bit more of what you want to scan, because I can do it in several different forms. But if you have already intention about something you want to direct me to look at, then you can get more of an accurate reading for your 1 minute. Now, Maria, here's the interesting thing about relationships. In this case, it has to do with your daughter. She always seems angry. Okay. When it comes to children, we have not really been able to give out a great healing tool to help the children, especially ones that are going through hormones, because those hormones will hijack the brain of your loved one. And if there is hidden traumas, then it's going to be more and more confusing. If you can have a relationship, you may have to start to demonstrate, I feel upset today, and then go do a healing tool. Mom, you look stupid. Oh, but it works. Mom, what are you doing? I am getting over feeling frustrated. This really works. It's called about being a demonstration. Works for some, works for others, and in others it may not. But I'm going to, what is it? Why is your daughter, why are you having to see her that way? And it says is that there's injustice. There's a part of you that felt like there's been injustice, and your 6-year-old self feels that. So the energy goes out. Your daughter raises her hand saying, Mom, I'm going to be the butthole in your life today. I'm angry. Showing a reflection of the mirror of who and what something is of the past. How do you respond to it? And if you're used to responding to people like that, like an, oh my God, or the action of trying to correct it. Because they said at 6 years old, there was a party that had an oh my God experience. And really nobody was there for you. Nobody was really there for you. So look inside yourself. Look inside yourself, and if you know the incident I'm talking about, place your hand on your forehead. Communicate with that little girl inside. Help her find justice. And a lot of times when they are that young, give them some paper and crayon in your mind and let them draw out and do everything they can. And well, again, you need to understand that what you see out here is a reflection of your inner world. And when you begin to work on that level of the cord that's projecting out, so you have to see this mirror. And when you heal that, the energy changes, the cord literally changes, and other people begin to show up differently. I do this every day. If something bothers, like I don't have to do it that being in this relationship, I really don't have to do this. But before, when I was in Michigan around my family, you'd be like, oh my God. Now I was lucky because I had your 6-year-old self, not her. I was lucky because I had hope therapy and all the tools. And so when I couldn't take and tolerate not one more ounce of the behavior my kids were doing, I like, okay, I'd look and I'd say, all right, I have to deal with the fact I can't tolerate. Because when I was little, I could feel how my family couldn't tolerate me. And that hurt. And so I didn't put the energy out to bond. So I had to go in and heal that feeling. When I felt abandoned, I couldn't understand why when my brother died, I didn't know he died. I just know that they picked me up in the middle of the night, took me over to somebody's house, and left me there. And I could only get bits and pieces, but I still couldn't put it together. But in my mind, I couldn't understand it. So it affected me as an adult. So when you begin to heal and you realize that this emotion's happening, and you begin to heal this and you change that frequency of how your brain keeps repeating, how every time it goes into stress, and you get this balanced, you would be very surprised to see how all of a sudden, when you begin to train yourself to communicate with spirit, people start showing up better. And it has everything to do with changing the frequency. It's not about fixing them, it's about you. It's about fixing what you're putting out, what you're receiving, and you can go in to demonstrating differently. Good. All right. You don't have to remember what happened to you, but if you understand, like she said, not sure what happened, around that age, but I can see how my daughter feels the same sense of injustice, because that is your biggest clue. And if you've ever had injustice in your life, you will know it. Okay, you will know it. And if you begin to heal on the scale from 0 to 10, that injustice, it changes that frequency in such a healthier way for you. Okay. Now, I see that...
CJ emailed me on.
Okay, what was the answer?
Okay, this is CJ again. Well, trying to find out why Alonzo gets attacked every time he is here at my house.
I'm assuming you mean attacked in such a way that it's spiritual issues, or attacked by an animal or people? What?
That's how I'm taking it spiritually, or, yeah.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because when a person is, how do you know? That's the key to in here. How do you know? Because if you, like I was talking to Maria, how you know injustice is because this has happened to you. How you know you can feel attacked. And especially when it comes out of nowhere. If there are different types of way you're being attacked, you have to, so I'm going to look at it this way. We're just going to energetically look and assume that it has negative energy. Okay, negative energy. Why is it this? Why is it? Okay. Do you live in a household? I'd say get on, but you're talking for somebody else. Do you live in a household where people fight, people argue, people have negative thoughts, people are, because the word obsession, and it feels like as I feel this space and I'm looking in the mirror, I feel that there's this obsession of energy. I would definitely say you need to go and sage the house if you haven't. And if you have, you have to help the CJ to understand that there's a habit that he CJ, or I'm not sure if it's CJ, Lorenzo, 5 years old. Whew. Okay. 5 years old. Now, this is interesting because what I'm seeing is that very sensitive frequency of like walking into a space and can tell when people have argued, have picked up frequencies of when something bad has happened. It's not that he's being attacked as much as he is not protected. His shell is at the front, it's the back. The governing meridian is kind of down and open. So we have the shell that's around us. And the tendency to not know where Lorenzo ends and where everything else begins, then what happens is that the body begins to respond into that fashion. So I believe that the body is trying to prepare itself. So any slight of people's thoughts, a bad experience, because I'm checking in the house, I'm checking the situations to see if there's anybody that died, any of that stuff, what they keep telling me is they're showing me that the aura is down, and they're showing me that energy just comes sweeping in, and it happens. Why? Because I know, because I had that same issue. When I asked at 5, what happened? Well, the frequency said he was petrified. Something caused him to be very petrified. And he could feel the pressure of the negative energies when he was that age, and therefore his body has not forgotten. Okay, so the idea of being marked. Again, this goes into the psychological aspect as well. Okay, the psychological aspect of this person, I'm not saying they're crazy. When you believe something, you can make yourself sick. When you believe something. Okay, now as I'm looking, there's a part of you that knows of all these bad experiences. I got to remember the name of this person that deal with just what you're talking about. I want you to go over to and listen to Lulu. I could ask my friend myself, but I want you to talk to Lulu, and Amy will find the link. And if she can't, I will. And I think yeah, they can. I thought maybe it was when he was in Iraq. Okay. There's a first experience that left that open. Anything you like from there on is just going to enhance it. For instance, people, if you ever got beaten up, and if you start thinking about it too much, you'd be amazed at how you can cause yourself to bruise in certain areas. Have you ever seen people that you immediately knew that they hated that certain part of their body because the energy off their body would start showing the very thing that they hated, and you can pick it out? What does that got to do with this? The body takes on that form to the point where you see what you have to see and experience what you have to experience because it hasn't been resolved out. It's called an unresolved issue. The only way that I would be able to help you is if you paid for a session and I walk you through. I've had people that were so far into listening to something horrific, and it took some time because they had separated themselves into many parts. Not your true full-blown DID people, but there are parts of what you do. Pictures alone in your head. Pictures you're alone. I mean, my body will go into an asthma attack if I see dust. I mean, it doesn't now, but I did before. Pictures in your head. If there are pictures in your head, they need to come out. If there are voices that you think you've heard, you need to take it how you know it. You need to change all that. But again, the root cause of an unknown issue is something that scared them at that age. All right, what else you got?
Crystal Allen, she wants her youngest daughter scanned.
Well, I'm just going, because there's a body scan, there's another scan, but I'm just going to do it this way. Oh, interesting. Glamour? Charm? I don't even know how I'm going to talk about that. Does she have this charming aspect? Do people like her? There's people that give repulsed energy, and you can tell that, stay away. Then there are people that just have this charmed energy, and everybody seems to flock to them. Okay, just to let you know that. When I began to notice this, I said, so what about it? Well, it's part of the defense. If she can have that part where they can come in, then there's a part of her that knows that it's okay. They like her and they want to talk to her. She feels safe to some degree. But if they kind of act weird, she will use and get panicked. Because she doesn't like that feeling of being instable, that emotion, and the muddledness. It needs to be clear. And when it all starts to feel, there's a panic that begins to override. And when I ask, it's like, then she has to go into defense mode, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm the good guy. I'm not the enemy. It's like she has to then defend herself. Okay, next.
Megan Scott.
Megan Scott. Interestingly enough, there's an aim that you're going for. This one? That's interesting. I had to draw a card called the Law of Compensation. And this has to do with, for everything that goes out, an equal measure returns to you. The universe always gives a balanced measure. You cannot expect to receive unless you give. The more the universal, the release, the more abundant the return. The more difficult it is to let go and move on, the greater the potential of you to open yourself up. You're like, no. For every action, then there is a reaction. Loss becomes gain. So it's about intention. It's about deciding, yes, if I am going to let it go, I'm just going to let it go. Like when I had to close all the doors to Michigan and bring all that energy to where I am now, then I had a smoother transition. And they're saying that sobriety is very important. It's about being sober. It's about being in that space. Usually when the sobriety card comes up, then I asked, okay, so why is this card coming up? And they said, well, it's the addiction to, and they said, in this case, taking the blame. You got to stop taking the blame for everything. If somebody's arguing and you just want it to end, you take the blame. But I feel that allows people that are more in ego will say to you, oh, yes, it is your fault, even though they could be completely wrong, which means they would rather be right than kind. I can't read that. I'm trying to read that. Read that one from Maria Terry.
Listening to you talk about the past and the frequency or energy, the more I believe my daughter vibrates on a frequency of feeling of being treated fair, and therefore it manifests everything she does, thinks, and believes, holding her back from moving forward. It is as if those feelings she sees as an excuse to keep feeling the way she does.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, take a look at it this way. It's when you're waking up from a particular pattern or habit, when you're waking up, you're going to keep repeating something. Now, if you're standing back watching your daughter, you have got to be okay with her learning her lessons, depending, no matter how long it takes. If you stand back and you're like, well, I can see that, and so you throw that answer out there, and if she's not ready for it, then she's going to miss the experience, and then she's going to create a whole nother story to hang on to not let something go. If you can just demonstrate, maybe communicate, like I know with my daughter, we've come to the point where she's like, okay, I'm feeling like shit. Why is that, Ma? And I'll say, very good. So you learn how to communicate. And the only reason she knew how to really do that is because she watched me and she saw what I was doing. She wanted a part of that. And then so she came into my fold of what I was and what I did. When it comes to understanding why a person would do this, this is where you have to hold yourself in discernment and not judgment. Because if they're an ego, it's going to be a particular pattern. And then you're going to say, see, they're going to do it anyway. See, they're just like, there's the ego does not help answer answer it. So when you see this, and it is about being treated unfair, she also has the encoding of being a female and young at that point. Okay. Encodings are codes that have already been like predestined. I'm a woman, which means I'm going to carry everything every woman has ever gone through. It's my turn to see if I can heal it out so that my children's or the next part of the woman in this group collective consciousness doesn't have to feel that way. We all have to do our part. And it's very, very important to be able to enter in that new 5D world by letting go of the way we think and feel. So learning to be observant. And when you look at it and say, being treated unfair, and if she's determined to keep displaying this, where is it in you that it's ever happened to you? Where is it in you that you felt maybe you always had to correct somebody because your mother or whatever, but like, did you feel that when you seen other people growing up that they always acted that way? There is a part of you that has to learn what's called the kaleidoscope of life. This is a difficult one for some because the kaleidoscope of life is that they're little like pieces of wedges of pie. And here you are looking at yours because you collected this experience. You can see this. Over here, somebody else has collected enough experience and they can see this. And eventually you're going to have to start seeing these different views. And so that you then all of a sudden, you get it, you understand it. And then you start to evolve out of it. When any emotions come up that keep you trapped in there, any negative emotion that keeps you trapped in there, the more you will suffer, the more you will kick out joy because it's called missing the mark. It's just, you're just out of sync just enough because you have to see it that way. So you're like, ugh. And what you're doing is eventually collecting the wisdom. And there will be people, you'll see a lot of them that use excuses and reasonings. And this is where you have to actually respect where they're at because they have in their contract that it may take until they're 50 to get it. It's up to them when they choose to wake up. Being patient is tough. Being the people we love, and you don't want your people that you love to be hurt. But you will stand back. And you can support them in different ways. And that's where you're at. You see it. And now it's like, how can I heal my inner world so that will help this child? I did a lot of healing on myself, and then I still see, certain things, certain patterns, and I realized that is them. They have to, so I displayed what I had to display. And now, after 5 years, I'm watching how people are turning themselves around because they've seen that it was possible to change a particular pattern. Oh, that's good. She says, we're slowly doing that now and have conversations, but when she's angry. Yes. Does she let you help her? Because let me tell you, anger was part of my genetic line. And when, like hope therapy, if you could make sessions where you could work on using hope therapy with me, you'll get through it faster. If you have to do it on your own, then I would take, and I would say, even though I'm angry, find out what you're really angry about. Because sometimes, like if I look at her anger really keeps pointing to, it's labeled injustice. And I'll look at it and say, well, what is the injustice about? And they go, see, it's when, really? It is a genetic line. And she's been around energy of people that when they have an agenda and that it doesn't work out for them, then you're supposed to be disproved. So I'm going to ask, is this injustice has to do with a RNA, DNA? No. Displayed? No. It's a frequency. We're just going to go right there. You're talking about power versus force. Yes. She came in to learn about anger. And that first time she had that anger experience was one years old. And it was towards herself. I'm angry at myself. And if I say, well, why are you angry at yourself? And it is, I can't get the attention. Does she have siblings? Or does she feel like she's in competition with somebody else? Okay, so it's looking at another way. A lot of people will be, what do they say? It's I can't remember what emotion it is, but it was really grief. Grief was really sadness or something like that. There was just one will hide. Most people come and they'll give me maybe 5 different choices of emotions, but then I can pick out theirs and what it's really saying. Oh, good. People are. Oh, Maria says, is it me? See, again, no, I really feel that it is based on how she, and I said, because it has to do with a soul line and it has to do with that encoding, being a female, not per se mama, bloodline. Yes, both with her older sister. So there's a family dynamics that she chose to come in. And that is what happened. So again, I would do hope therapy. If she says, yeah, I'll do it. Just doing this point here is important. These 2 points are important. And these 2 points are important. Putting your hand like this is going to, I'm so angry. 80% of the blood will leave your forebrain. Go into fight, flight. And when you're angry, you can put it on a scale from 0 to 10. See, and it's important if you could have a chart with faces like anger, sadness, whatever, disgust, and then you have it on a scale from 0 to 10, 1 to 10, or 0 to 10 because 0 is like, hey, I'm happy. But if you can there was a study they showed that when they started to introduce that method to children, and then some of them even got special watches so they could see when their heart rate goes up and that they're angry. They couldn't put into words with their emotions what was really happening and what it was too. But when they were to say, I'm that, that face, and then they said, okay, they put a magnet on that and they said, oh, it feels like a 10. And then they were told to breathe 5 counts in, 5 counts out, and to do that several rounds to the point where it started to calm down. Now I would rub this point here under the pinky on both sides. That helps calm the heart. When your heart gets readjusted, the emotions begin to get better. And if you were to just put your hand here, you're also bringing the blood back up so that you can get out of fight, flight, freeze. And the hairline will help process some of the emotion. And this is an emotional point as well, which will help you balance a majority of your neurovasculars. Neurovascular, said that completely wrong. But there's a lot you can do. I feel she thinks she has to compete with her sister, but wants to be treated exactly the same, but not realizing that they are two different people with different personalities. Yeah, this is a tough thing for her to learn. If you can get her, like I said, if you made an appointment and you were present when we did this, because I do that with other mothers. She has a lot of disdain energy, and she doesn't know how to express it. She just remembers when about 6, she had a lot of that. And she just doesn't know what to do with it. And so those trapped emotions stay put. Oh, she has that with her watch, telling her to breathe when she starts to feel upset or anxious. Good. When it comes to here, just rub. Okay, but if she's already breathing, you should just add that because breathing already helps. You do this, put her on the scale from 0 to 10. Mama, keep her hand there. Let her process out. It'll eventually go down to 0. If that's not the case, she can write down, I'm mad at blah, blah, blah. There's your sentence. Write it out. Then have her do emotional freedom technique and go through. And if she can't say she completely loves and accepts herself, fine. Just get her to get into the emotion. And then when you go several rounds of all of it, especially if you do the one where you roll your eyes as you're tapping this point and you hum and you count, you'll start pulling out the pictures because you can also do sensory accessing. God, there's several things you can do. A sensory accessing tool, which is a free healing tool on my site, which pulls the picture, pulls it out. She's so mad at her sister, but just one eye, and then you eventually start noticing that it'll change. You do chord switching. That means she takes back her power and she takes off their crap off of her, and she keeps doing that back and forth until she feels better. People need to understand what that emotion is. I mean, when Amy would talk to me, she's like, I got a headache. But it ended up being related to something she was thinking and an emotion that was trapped, wasn't it? There's lots of times there's different things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's talkative today, people.
I still have to sleep, Brenda. Sorry.
No, you're doing fine, darling. She gets up at 4:30 for me. Well, probably earlier than that to get ready.
Well, it was 4 o'clock, but I had my alarm set for 3, and I rolled back over and went back to sleep.
So how are you liking your new fringe or bangs? Do you like them or not?
Not yet. I got to get them trained better.
Okay. Do you feel like the emotion? Tell me about it.
I haven't had them for probably 7-8 years, so it's just.
They look like they create a muddle instability within you. It makes you feel nervous, and it makes you feel over concerned. I'd say R1S for that. Hope you write that down. Oh. Well, good thing it's still recording because all of a sudden, hopefully I'm still recording out there. It says I ran out of disk space. How do you do that on a big terabyte? Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember how they do it. It's not my terabyte. It's jeez. Okay, what else? Who else? Who else is emailed? Anybody paid?
Mom.
Who?
LaRonda.
LaRonda. Oh, I just heard Bonanza. That's got something. bonanza. Does that mean anything to you? Rhonda. Alejandro. What am I doing? I don't know what we're doing, but I can feel it. Oh, yeah, there is a great concern for that. Okay. Well, you are definitely waking up to who you are. The biggest problem is that you are looking at how people disapprove. People disapprove of me. People disapprove of my beliefs. People disapprove. And they said this has followed you forever. And if I ask why, because you said towards yourself at 9 years old, I disapprove of how others treat me. I disapprove because that stability, it became very unsettling. They're saying, what do you want? This one? No, this? Oh, that's why we got these out. We got them out for you, LaRonda. Procrastination. Disapproval of procrastination. Self-sabotage. They said that you keep going back into that. And I ask, well, why? Why self-sabotage? Because there's a panic that if you actually proceeded to become who you are, people are threatened by your greatness. And yeah, that needs to be healed out, sweetheart, because you have the right to be born and take up space, be in that space. And, I can understand the part of you at that age felt if you were to really unleash who you are, then you could lose family and friends, and you weren't ready at the time. You were not ready at the time, but you can really move forward. You really can do this. And what would I say for her? I would say L1D. Who else?
TP.
TP, Miss Perkins. Wow. Same story, different day. Not doing too bad. And we already know the exertion of this and that as far as the body. But what is it? What's coming ahead? And they're saying that you are not sure how to reach out. And then they said that it has to do with, 2 cards. There's not enough strength. And that you feel naked without your special, I'm assuming your dog, because this is an animal. And your identity of your strength that you got from your animal, you kind of feel like you don't have that anymore. And if I ask why, they say, well, if you were to go to the inside, you could see your inner child and the energy of people ganging up on you. That you could feel how they severed love from you. Now, what's interesting is that I'm getting a sinus issue and a sore throat at the same time. It's like the snot is draining and it's burning back to my throat. TP, they said that is a habitual fear. If you were to go inside, and I want you to do an inner child work, or if your body starts acting this way, I want you to place your hand on the occipital point, okay, right back here, and then place the other one here. I don't care how you do it here, this way. I want you to hold, okay? And I want you to put that on the scale from 0 to 10. I really want you to really allow yourself to breathe in and out, and allow you to be okay to tap into the pain slowly, but tap into the pain, okay? So that you can start to release it and become stronger. Okay.
Inez.
Inez?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I see Jennifer Allison wrote something too. Inez. Where's Inez? Okay, I don't see that. Anyway, Inez. Just as a reading?
Yep. Can I have a quick 1 minute, please?
Gotcha. All right. All right. The energy of the repulsion of relationships is more in the negative one. And when I ask, is it coming? You're in that negative. You seem to attract people that don't quite bring the energy. So when they bring the energy into the space, it's not very good because your part of your heart, Meridian, says, I don't know what to do. So when certain people begin to enter the arena, you go like this, from what I can feel. And that's a habit, they said, that you've done ever since you were 5. So now that you're getting older, you're trying to make it work. You're trying to make it better. And at the same time, you get, really? Do you get people that envy, or do you feel envy? Look that word up. Make sure you understand it. Because they said there's some type of frequency there of an emotion that needs to be released. Okay. Anybody else?
Becky with an IE.
I see Jennifer has a specific question, but my thing's so darn small. Can you see that?
This time I have a specific question. I'm hoping for some kind of answer. If it's okay, I'd like to inbox you an article. My question is my daughter still with / in love / aligned with him? Will she heal and get past this?
You know, we got 2 Beckys. Oh, no. It must be LaFave.
Yes.
And you said there was nothing specific? Where's my cards for her? Well, that's odd. Where are they? I was going to grab my relationship deck for her. Huh. Hello. Well, they can't go far. So,
No,
seriously.
I'm not dimension moment.
I'd rather have the relationship cards, but we're just going to take one of these anyway. We'll see what happens. Miss Becky. The signs are with you already. So you have a lot of signs that are coming through. Are you fully aware of that? And they said that it's time to clean up something in particular. And if I asked a little bit more, they said, well, there's this part of you that's almost broke through, and it's related to being petrified. They said that you're kind of moving away from having to be discouraged, and you're growing nicely. But they said that do you feel like karma is in play in this? Because they're pointing that out, that you feel like maybe it is. And I've asked Spirit, is it karma? No, it is having to do things for others when they need to do it for themselves. And so just as you are growing, take that last bit of yourself and decide that, you have to let people learn. They have to get that experience so they can stop doing something. Otherwise, you will create a certain karma. So you said, Alice had said that there is okay, back to an article. My question is, my daughter is still with in love and aligned with him. So do you know what the article is? Because I don't have time to read it.
No, she wants to email.
Wow. So I'm hoping I do not lose this. No, I don't take personal ones unless you're setting up an appointment, because I have to work all day. And then when people want me to give them things, it's hard. And I've got to exit the screen real quick and find out what's happening. I'm literally not sure. I'm not recording, but the show looks like it's still going on.
Yes.
I'm going to keep going. That's a sign. That's a sign. Something's inefficient. Who's this for? Somebody that I just read, going to read. Somebody in the room. Somebody in the room has inefficient energy, inefficient storage. What do you mean? Memory, physical, mental, towards themselves. They don't have enough energy to take good care of themselves. And so therefore they have this, I can't figure it out feeling. They feel cloudy thinking, and they have ego tendencies to feel disapproval towards themselves. So who are you? Identify who you are. Fear-based. Okay, best thing for you, again, use a healing tool to get rid of the fear, change the fear. You can go like this to help with balancing that fear. Put it on a scale from 0 to 10. Get it down to 0. I'm not kidding. This stuff works. You just got to stick with it. All right, I'm going to try to fix my screen again. All right, anybody else?
Claire.
Claire.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like, all right, I'm having trouble connecting. And all of a sudden, I just felt like I looked up. I seen like clouds, but yet then it felt like the clouds are raining down on me. And I'm like, okay, we playing charades again? Now, normally I don't have a problem with looking at the mirror, but the mirror looks foggy. The mirror looks... And as I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, any loved one over there would like to help with this one. And they're like, oh, she's good. I says, wait, why are you so... You guys are never like that. So this is all clues.
Spirit has been showing me signs. Good news is coming.
Oh, excellent. Now, who said that?
Claire.
Oh, good. So maybe that's why everything's good. But why did you show me the clouds? Does that mean that heaven's helping to rain? Oh, wait. Are you saying that heaven is helping? Somebody up there likes me. Is that, yeah? Oh, excellent. Okay. All right. So, I feel like and she wants a reading? She's doing good. From what I can feel is that, have I given a reading or haven't I not? This is weird energy. I mean, seriously, weird energy.
I honestly don't think you have.
I don't think I have. Okay, they said when you're moving to the next stage, you're learning how to stand that ground. But there's a party that doesn't emit the light that you could. So just know that you can tune in and expand that energy, and you can really make a difference, because when you do, you actually have that strength. You are meant to move in something very particular with your purpose. And they said that you have really did good at letting go of some of the crap that has really pulled you down. And they said they just want you to look at some of the memories and notice that they don't have to have any more power over you. And so when they do creep their little heads up, you can say, no, I can take my thoughts on it. And then they said, because some of these memories are going to want to try to disconnect you from your purpose, your path. But that's where you can use a healing tool. That's where you can tap it out. That's where you can use your hand on the forehead. You can do, if it's a memory, you can actually pull it up and do eye accessing and pull off the bad stuff off each of the pictures out of each eye. Okay. Anybody else?
Cobra 666 and says, hi, I was wondering if you could tell me how my daughter is really coping since her dad walked out in September and in January introduced her to the girlfriend he is having an affair with. She has been staying there, and says she's fine. I feel she isn't as okay with things. Cheers, Trudy.
All right, where are my cards that I want, Spirit? This is ridiculous. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so who wants to go in and look? Thank you. Well, she's meant to look at how to love herself. So she's learning different experiences, different feelings. She doesn't know how to really open up. And for some reason, this is experience. It goes again. And she's learning different ways of seeing things. This is the hard part, because the last thing that people want is to have somebody mother your child. But she's learning certain different behaviors. They're not bad. They're it's a different way of looking at things. And they said for you, it is just to be okay, trust the experiences that she needs to get, and free yourself to start to develop that part of yourself, because they said you could easily fall into obsessing, and then you will be like the planet evolving around the sun, and you'll miss out on the opportunity that your soul wants you to experience, so you can grow and then grow with your daughter. To be able to grow with you yourself, they're saying, when you keep an open mind of being adventurous, different things, and don't worry so much about the cares of the world. Just start saying thank you to Spirit, and helping Spirit bring in information that you need that will guide you to having the experiences that are better for you. They're saying that she's okay. And I tend to see the energy says that. And, and it's like, okay, is she good? Is she good with all that? And they said, yeah, she's learning how to recover, and she's recovering quickly, and that slowly she's getting back to seeing how things can actually benefit her. And they're saying that their time will just have to unfold. So she's getting different experiences and more of it. And she's learning to see differently. All right, who else?
Margine.
Well, apparently, no, not these. That's what I said. Okay, Margine. Have a heart-to-heart conversation. Who do you want it with? Well, apparently you know, or if you don't know, you will soon know. You're going to ask, oh, yes, I need to have a heart-to-heart. And they said that when you do so, it'll help free you of the miscommunication and the lack of. And then when it does, you'll be able to give that relationship with whoever it is a chance, because it will begin to help clear different things. And then you'll be able to become optimistic and be happy about life again. And that some of these past life issues have been coming to the surface, and it's time to let certain things go. And when I asked what in particular could be coming up, and they said, well, it's to deal with erratic behavior. How do I deal with it? How do I address it? Apparently in your past life, you really didn't. But in this life, you don't have to be around it. You can just say, I can free myself. And if it's me that has the erratic behavior, then I can heal. And those emotions create chemical peptides. Those chemical peptides make the erratic. Okay? A person can't be erratic unless there's chemical peptides of emotions. All right. Anything else? Anybody else?
No.
Okay. I'm just going to double check. And if nobody's paid, then that'll be good. And then we will just double check in the rooms if nobody else is. Excuse me. So if you haven't gotten a card or a quick read, let me know now. Okay, so nobody's paid, so that's all right. And we're going to look here. All right. I don't see anything into YouTube land. There's nobody in there. And then same for the other one. Oops, got to move this one up. Oh, I already did Trudy. Is that from Trudy Mundane that we just did?
I honestly have no clue.
All right, Trudy, if you're still there, sweetheart, and because we just did a Trudy, so I don't know if that was you. It says, anyone coming through with guidance for me, please. If you're still here, let me know. Isabella?
Yeah, we did you, Izzy.
Do you have a timestamp?
Let's see. Probably about 4 minutes ago.
See, and again, Crystal Ann, if you sit there and you can kind of direct me where you want me to go, because inside this scanning, you can do the hologram of energies. You can do each auric field, each chakra. You can do the organs. You can do meridians. You can do the nadis. You can do, if you want certain specific areas that you've looked at. As I'm looking, does she feel like her face is deformed? Does she feel something not about it? Or is that you? Somebody has an opinion about it, because I'm looking at the word disfiguration that seems to be energetically in that space. There's something that some type of habit. Now, do they grind the teeth? Do they grind the teeth? Because the energies are like smashed there or mashed there. So did you find out the timestamp of Isabella?
My guess is probably 120.
All right. I'll do another one just because, but it's not going to happen all the time. So pay attention. Timestamp this, because I have no way to find out. About 121, 122, the timestamp of this one. Well, if you can't find it, understand it probably was pretty good. She said she's been watching the last 30 minutes and haven't had anything. Well, if I find it, you'll get it. Was there any specific that she wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay. Well, the energy is that it's not safe for you to love. That is the energy that's coming off of you. And I say, is it from the spirit saying it's not safe? No, it is something that she said towards herself that has to do with being petrified, because what happened at 4 years old, you're saying, no, it's part of your identity. I don't want something. I don't want to be bullied. So did you see your parents fighting? Did you see anything in particular? Because there's some very much determination that, no, I don't want that. Okay. And if you heal that, it can change everything. But they said that, if you did heal it, then it has to do with the wedding. It has to do with the marriage. It has to do with, so take a look back at your belief systems and what you saw with people. Somehow it is affecting the way that is. You have that broadcast energy. Is that something bad's going to happen? So you had to have witnessed. You've had to have witnessed it. Okay, you must have witnessed it, Isabella. You had to have witnessed something at 4 years old you didn't like. Crystal Allen, her eye and left side of her face is starting to droop. Okay, now see, that takes me in a whole nother realm. When you look at that, you're talking about which energy is causing the drooping, and they said that the triple warmer. Okay, she's been doing self-pity mode inside something a long time ago. And then she feels this lack of power for whatever the situation was. And it is also about self-preservation. There's a part of her that if she feels that she makes herself ugly enough, then something's going to leave her alone. So does she have repetitive thoughts that are coming at her? Does she have repetitive emotions that she just can't get rid of something out of her head? Because if it's there, she needs to address that so that the energy in her face can go back. She could, what other meridian is causing it? Stomach meridian. The stomach meridian is I just can't put a face, I can't put my best face forward. I can't do this anymore. So she doesn't want to be ego, or she doesn't want something. And so the stomach meridian, it comes in like this and comes around like that. If it is on, let me see here. If I can pop over to this. And what do they call it? Bell's palsy?
Bell's palsy, yes.
Yeah. All right, let me look. See if I can find something real quick. Your body talks to you all the time. And what does it say? It usually talks about the emotions, talks about an experience. Yeah, come on. La, 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 la.
One of my classmates' moms had that, like Bell's palsy.
Super suppressed. They're manifesting extreme control over their anger. That's that ego part. And a total unwillingness to express their feelings arising out of an intense run-amok anxiety. The fear of losing it. Okay? So take a look at it. It's an intense judgmental towards themselves. And you said left side feeling avoidance. They don't want to feel something, so they're trying to avoid a specific feeling. They have an inability to feel what they experience. So you can have the experience, but if you don't want to have that feeling, it's a way to cold candle deal and pacify. You'll learn how to suppress it. But what happens is the body will hold a particular frequency, and it's out of the catastrophic expectations about what the feelings are and out of what the feelings represent and about who they are. So she's holding expectations about herself. Okay, this is what needs to really be addressed. You can try to do this on your own, but this is where I'd say you need to make an appointment and working to release those emotions. All right, what's the other email?
Okay, I have one from Angela, and just anything.
For Angela Allen? We didn't do one for her?
Yep. No, we did not.
We did one for, okay, there, and there. What? The choices you've been making, they says that it's hard to make certain choices. And have you been indecisive? No. There was certain choices you made a while back, and something to do with smoking, because all of a sudden they said, there's a part of you that may not want to smoke anymore. And then if that's the case, then I'd say the reason why you did it is the smoking is the solution to what? And they said it had to do with panic. It had how you had to deal with panic. And if I said anything in particular about this panic, and they said that I can't receive, because the receiving I get is receiving equals hurt. Receiving equals getting punched. Receiving equals getting beaten. So notice how they're all saying it is receiving isn't about receiving love. It is receiving something sad and bad. I would definitely heal that out, tap it out, heal it out. And I'm not kidding. You have to go into the emotions. You have to release those emotions. And, just trying it on your own. No, you have to use a tool, because if you're just thinking it through and not using a tool to bring the blood back up, you will begin to just not heal anything. It'll just be same shit, different day. Okay, there was another email from somebody. Who was it?
Kayla, but I think she accidentally sent it to you.
I don't know if I can. I will look. Can't do it on the big computer, so I'll have to try it on this one. That's why we get a different email, because.
Yeah, I just said that emails must be sent to.
All right, well, give that a minute. Hopefully that won't crash, so we'll just let that go. Ooh, all of a sudden I had it's not my hot flash. Metabolism. Whose? Somebody in the room is having a metabolism issue, and their body is in response to what emotion? To it's a habit of rejection. And is it the time? So it's not the clock? Yes, it is. So whoever's in the room, if you can look at your clock, and see what time it is. Notice that your body wants to do this particular habit, and maybe it has a hot flash, maybe it has to do with the metabolism getting overheated after you eat or something like this, but it has to do with rejection. And so the body is showing up that way. Oh, excuse me. Because the body is like, woman? Okay. Whoo. Okay, I don't want that. Ugh, I'm going to let that go. All right. I delivered the message. I don't know who it is. I don't want any more. You keep that to yourself.
Okay, I got Kayla's email.
Okay, good, because my thing froze. I haven't opened it in a week, and they're like, oh, okay. Go ahead.
To be blessed reading. Is there anything health-wise I should be concerned about? Thank you so much. God bless.
All right. If you have a particular health thing that a doctor has told you, understand. That's good if you can bring that to me, because then I can elaborate to why your body's doing it. If I look at your health, I can tell you that, first of all, I can see that the polarity is off. What does that mean? Well, you can have a whole host of issues without having any diseases or anything like this. You can feel flat. You can feel like your head's not screwed on right. You can feel scrambled. It feels like the lack of water. So have you had water today? And if you are drinking water, why isn't it pumping through you properly? The polarity is off. And I'm looking, and it says that the heart meridian and the triple warmer are going off, which causes, this head to do this. And I'm going to tell you straight out. I want you to measure how you feel. No, let's do it this way. You're going to measure how you feel. People have no idea your polarity is off half the time, but measure how you feel. You're like, this feels all right. Or you feel off. You're going to see this point here. And then you're going to see this point here. If you were to take and hold, and then you rub. Do it 30 times. Do it on both wrists. You can do them individually. I can't do that. Fine. Rub, dub, dub, dub 30 times. Rub, rub, rub 30 times. Do that both sides. You get constant headaches. Yes. That's because the triple warmer keeps going off. Your heart meridian cannot pump the head to the head properly. And so if you get headaches now, or if you're, because do that, and I want to check, because I have a feeling that that's the first round. Because, okay, and the May said that those will go off, and the main thing that headache happens is that when your body, there's the metabolism. The liver meridian's not processing properly. So what will happen is that you feel the kickback of the toxins of stuff that's not processing. Boy, do I know that one. Here's your big toe. Here's your second toe. Go all the way down until you feel the bones meet. And then you rub here on both sides. Rub that 30 times. Need a magnet? No, just do that. And I'm talking a good 30 times. Now, if you start to feel a little better and you're like, rub them again, because you gotta get it up there. You have to get yourself balanced, and you have to get ahead of this. Your body's processing goes into this particular pattern, and then your body's going to end up creating a habit it doesn't need to. Hi, Ashley. All right. I would say, Kayla, look at the time that your body is doing this. I just put it up. Not sure if I published it yet, but it's about the horror points. I don't have, you can't see mine because there's no clock, but this will tell you, like, for instance, if you know what time of night, kind of give me a guess of what time you think that you have them. And then I will tell you what you need to focus on. So, if you're not going to try it now, that's fine. But if you can tell me what time, trust me, Amy will say, I don't feel good. I'll say, rub this, do that. And then she'll say, I feel better. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It really works. It really does. First
time that she started to do that, she's like, I have this all the time. And then, she didn't really have any expectation that, I'm just going to have the same shit different day. All of a sudden she's, whoa, that worked.
Yeah, it was a big eye opener.
Now she's addicted. I'm trying to show her how to do it herself.
I do rub my points, especially when I know you're sleeping. It's like, okay,
what would Brenda do?
I have a couple apps on my phone, and I find
good
things that I think I need to rub.
Right. Okay, so Kayla hasn't said what time it is. What's that?
I think we have a paid. Jackie emailed.
Oh, let me check. So, Kayla, if you know what time, help me out. Help sister out, because my time's not the same as yours. Yes, it's Jackie. Hello, Jackie. Do you want to come on, or do you want to talk like this? Beep, beep. Huh?
I said, Jackie, come play with us.
Yes. Show these people how to do it. Come on.
1 minute as Julie.
Julie. Where is Julie? Okay, well, Julie, no. Ha, ha, ha. Ah, yes, Julie. My psychic powers say that as I reach inside the crystal ball, I see, you're not finding your center very well, that the item of receiving is not coming into view. Why? They said it has to do with that you feel the lack of inspired passion. So there's something that's kind of fizzled out in you. Interesting. Why is that? Because it's about how you start new beginnings. Oops, that's not what I want. When did you have problems with beginnings? 7 years old. When you try to begin something, you'd have a panic about what, my dear? Efforts unreceived. Oh, that would make sense. So if you feel like all your efforts are unreceived, you're going to have same day, different story type thing. That's fine, honey. You're in the dark. That's fine. And again, Kayla, it's the same time every day. Since you won't tell me and I have no clue what time it is, I'm just going to say this before we go to Miss Jackie. Let's say it happened between, what time would you say? We'll start from 7 to 9 at night. They said the circulation, okay, or the sex, which is reproductive, which is the pericardium. They said that between 7 and 9 p.m. and 7 and 9 a.m., that is stomach in the morning and circulation sex at night. You need to balance them because your circadian rhythms are off. So every 2 hours, a meridian kicks in and starts to work its best. But if it doesn't have enough energy, you will begin to know it. Okay. So you then need to understand that you would rub the stomach and the circulation sex. And the stomach would be on, towards your little toe. And it would be about 4 fingers down from the kneecap on the outside. And that 5th point is usually stomach 36. If not, look it up, line stomach 36. You rub both legs and then you turn around. Let's say you're up at 7 and 9 in the morning. Rub it then, but at the same time, rub the circulation sex, which is right here. Okay? That's not the easiest one for me to rub. My fingernails get in the way. You do both sides. But let's say it's 7 and 9 at night and do it again. What will happen is you'll start to notice in a few days that things will begin to be different. Then you can be more locating to decide all the rest if you need to put them in line. If you're sleeping, don't rub it. If you can find the same time that you would be in the middle of the night during the day, do it then. And it's Horay. All right, Miss Jackie, anything particular?
Let's see, what does her email say? My question is, am I hindering spirit's plan? If I go for 70%, is this taking time away from what they are trying to give me if I kept it at 50%?
Okay. They're like, communicate clearly. Jeez, smart asses. They said you have to find that peace within yourself. Because you're not finding the peace, you can't come up with a solution. And then I'm saying, okay, well, all right. Is she being influenced by something other than? And it is being influenced by this stress that I don't want to be I don't want to do something out of sympathy. But at the same time, I don't want to be considered the bad guy. So there, you're met with some vulnerability within yourself. And if I ask the spirit, what do you mean? What age was this particular vulnerability? And they said, well, when you were 15, you had to do something and you resonated with your truth, and somehow it must have backfired.
Yes, Jackie. Shasta, this was for her. Her video cut out.
Yes, this is for you, Jackie. They said that there's a part of you that has to look at some pride. When you were 15, there was some pride issue. Because when you made that decision, again, there was a lot of muddled instability. You felt under pressure to have to be persuaded to go with what somebody else said. So that's why it says, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. So it says, have to become somebody because it's out of sympathy. So it's expected of you, or this is what you have to do. And then you're like, well, come on, I'm not the bad guy here. So can you relate to any of that, Jackie? Because that's important to understand. And then, so whatever happened at 15, take a second or two to think about that. Because they're saying that it's like you had a windfall, something good came your way. And then what? And then the support you were looking for, what happened to that support? Left. I mean, literally it says leaves. The supports leave. So what happened at 15 that caused the support to leave? It's like you had something good happen to you, and then the people that you thought were there left. So the question is, did they see you as a bad person? No, towards yourself, you felt bad. Were you controlled by what? A form of shame. So did somebody shame you? Yes. That goes back to when you were 3. Oh boy. So what would you want her to do? Well, your polarity goes off. And when your polarity goes off, there's a part of you that literally starts to feel off. Put your finger in your belly button and your forehead. You push in and you lift up, and you start to build that energy up. Then do a Wayne Cook energy to balance the scrambledness. When you do it, stay a little longer when you're holding those holding the Wayne Cook. Stay there a little longer. And while you're thinking of this, be aware of that feeling of shame. They're saying that then you grab like this and you hold on to it, because there's a fear and there's a shame at the same time. Begin to work that through. Do you have a tendency to have headaches if you were to make a decision for yourself? Because all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to say pass out. It's like I want to put a cover over my eyes. And it's like you're trying to fight. I don't want to react. Wow, a lot of fighting going on there with yourself. But that really is about a panic, because it's an old familiar thing that over time hopelessness still kicks in. And I would definitely say that needs to be addressed. Now, where would you want her to hold? They said begin with R1S. Oh, who called you stubborn? Oh my God. It's like, oh, stubborn girl. R1S. First of all, just grab R1S, okay? Because it's like, that seems like control words. Then they said, begin to notice how judgment starts to come. The shame starts to mess with your head, and it causes you to go into this reaction action. Then go into L2D, because this is about, you're going to be taken for granted at any moment. Has she answered? No. Okay. I'm looking. Oh, God. They said a lot of this has to do with being criticized. It's like a constant needle in my ear. It's being criticized over and over and over, that as you do your best to be a good person, you have this criticism, and it's like, okay, they want you to do sensory access system, sensory accessing, which means you need to begin to pull that out of your ears. Because yes, maybe my mom or sisters or grandma. Yeah, well, it's really they live in your head. You may want to do thought management, because I can hear them in there. A thought management, you need to kick them out. It's also a healing tool on my website, because you need to get it out. Because literally, it just keeps the same pattern going and going. Yes. Okay, remember, go to medicinewomansolution.weebly.com and look under thought management, sensory accessing. I think there's the ear one. You'll see it when you open it. It should be 2. Do the hookup. Yeah, because your whole foundation shakes. And if I said, if you wanted to go with your answer, you would end up turning around and going with what you think would be better. Yes, my mind is on overdrive. Yeah. Okay. Now, I know that you could go for 70. You had that last time. But then you just doubted. And they're saying now you need to make peace with yourself. If you feel that you want to start off with just 50%, then do so. If he tips his hand, when he tips his hand, you could go for more, if it's necessary. They say ultimately it still is your choice. But you're the one that has to live with yourself at the end of the day. And if you can't heal and process those emotions out, then do what is good for you right now, and watch how you will slowly begin to heal, and the universe will give you more opportunities again and again to be able to, get there if you can't do it now. Hopefully that helps you, dear. Anybody else, Miss Ames?
No.
Okay, well, we'll check again. I think we're all good in each of these rooms, so we'll say goodbye to that room. And I don't see anybody else in, hold on, I need to put these away, over in YouTube land. Just double checking. Nope. We're going to say, remember, just stay blessed. That's the best thing to do.